What's going on, guys? It's me, Drillana Fan 2016 here, and today we have another trip announcement for you guys. I'm super excited to talk about this trip in today's video, as today I'm going to be talking about my trip to Airliners International 2024 in Kansas City. Man, I am just beyond excited to go to this convention again. Second time in a row. It will be my second Airliners convention after last year's convention in Dallas, and I'm just super excited to explore the Kansas City area. So yeah, just super excited. First time staying in Missouri. Well, technically first time being in Missouri. Well, I'm not sure if I did. Yeah, it'll be my first time. I'm just referring to like if I ever went to Missouri when I was a kid. But I'm just super excited to stay in the middle part of the US, basically, which of course is where Kansas City is based at. So yeah, just super excited. So kind of like already talked about Airlines International in the past, of course, with my DFW show. So I'm just super excited to talk about this trip announcement for the Kansas City trip. So not gonna waste further time, and we're just gonna get started right away. So here's the background information. Now, similar to Dallas, of course, I'll be attending this year's convention for the entire 3 days of the convention, or just in this case, the collectible show. And yeah, just do the same thing for DFW, just explore. Yeah, just explore more. Well, yeah, just explore the collectible show and all that, all like the malls they have and all the vendor tables they have. But, excuse me. But I think compared to last year's convention, I'm actually going to be doing more exploring on this convention. So probably like attend one of the seminars that are going to be held, and possibly like explore more on like what all these vendor tables really has to offer. So just super excited to talk about and like go through all like the process of me looking at the vendor tables of this convention. So I'm just super excited for that. So that's kind of like a simple background information. It's kind of like similar to last year's background information for Dallas. So yeah, it's kind of like the same thing at this point. But we're going to talk about the trip. So with being said, let's move on to the next slide, and I'm going to be talking about my trip from there. So here we go. So let's start with this trip. So for my trip, it'll be from Sacramento International Airport to Kansas City International Airport. The dates will be June 25 to June 30th. I'll be staying in Kansas City for 5 days and 4 nights. And of course, the hotel will be at the Hilton Hotel. And there's another hotel called the Best Western Hotel because of like how many attendees are going to be in this convention. So it's gonna be a very packed convention, I will say. So really nice turnout for the convention, unlike last year's convention. Of course, we had a good amount of attendees from last year's convention, but I'm expecting this year's convention we're gonna have a lot more than what it is for DFW in 2023. So now for the nights and days, it's kind of like the same thing, similar to like DFW, of course, 5 days, 4 nights. So nothing really too special about that. It's kind of like the same deal at this point. So same song, second verse. Now let's get onto the flights. So we're gonna get into all the flights that I'm gonna be doing. So with that being said, let's get started with our first flight, which will be, excuse me. Alright, so as I was saying, so we're gonna be talking about the flights that I'll be going to for this trip. So let's get started with our first flight, which will be held on June 25. And yeah, I'll be on Delta Airlines, of course. So I'll be flying Delta Airlines to Kansas City. It'll be on their Boeing 737-900ER. And that flight route will be from Sacramento International Airport to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. The flight number is Delta Flight 769. The flight time will be 4 hours and 30 minutes. The time of departure is 10:59 p.m. And the time of arrival is 6:29 a.m. Eastern Time. 10:59 p.m. I'm referring to Pacific Time. And this is going to be a red-eye flight, so really excited to do another red-eye flight. It's not really too special, I will say, but I think this will be my first domestic red-eye flight since I've been doing some red-eye flights for mostly international. So yeah, it's kind of like typical on what a red-eye flight is, but I'm just like, it's not really going to be like too scenery, like not going to see too much scenery because it's nighttime, but hey, it is what it is. And yeah, the seat I'll be on is 15 Alpha in main cabin. Now, as for the additional notes, I'm super excited about this as I'll be flying to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson for the first time. This is going to be a new experience for me. I'm just super excited to fly to the world's busiest airport in the entire world, ATL. And I'm just super excited to see the whole airport's infrastructure. I've been wanting to go to Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International for like quite some time now, so I'm really fortunate to book this flight going to ATL, which I'll be having a layover there. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. And yeah, once again, flying Delta 739, which I did fly under 739s before, mainly from LAX to Seattle, so really cool stuff right there. Yeah, I just gotta get a sip, so, because I'll be talking too much in this. I'll be talking a lot in this video. But other than that, we're gonna be moving on. And we're gonna be moving on to like the layover stuff, so let's get started with our first layover at ATL, Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. That duration of the layover will be 1 hour and 41 minutes long, and my plans during this layover is kind of like typical for what I would always do during the layover. I'll be just doing terminal spotting and kind of like assessing the airport, like exploring the airport in general, so just kind of like see how it feels like to actually like connect to Atlanta Hartsfield, like how I can get from one gate to another, and kind of like do a little bit of exploring, not really like going too much exploring at this airport. I can't really like explore this entire airport in just 1 hour and 41 minutes because I still gotta catch my flight going to Kansas City, but I'm just super excited to see what this whole airport's all about. Can't wait to see a lot of Deltas because that's kind of like Delta's flagship hub. For the world's busiest airport, Delta Airlines is their flagship hub. So yeah, expect a lot of Deltas. I'm gonna see pretty much every single Delta airplane in their entire fleet at this point. So I'm just super excited to see that many Delta planes. Of course, it's not like LAX or Seattle-Tacoma International Airport where there's like a good amount of Deltas. This is pretty much, I would see like the entire Delta fleet when I go to ATL. So I'm just super excited to see that. I will see their A330neos, their CRJs, their A350s, and all that. So I'm just super excited to go to this airport for the first time. So I'm just super excited for ATL for my layover there. So yeah, that is my layover at ATL. That's layover number 1. The second flight, I'm just super excited about this second flight. So it'll be my second flight, which will be taking place on June 26th, which is the day 1 of the collectible show. Well, not really day 1 of the collectible show, just day 1 of like the Airliners International, but mainly it's just for like the tours. So I'm just super excited for this next flight right here, as here we go, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. So I'll be flying, of course, Delta Airlines on their Boeing 737-900ER, which is kind of like regular at this point. It'll be from ATL, Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson, to Kansas City International Airport. The flight number is Delta Flight 2471. The flight time will be 2 hours and 4 minutes. The time of departure is 8:10 a.m. Eastern Time, and the time of arrival into Kansas City will be 9:14 a.m. Central Time. And this is the really exciting part about this flight, as I'll be seated on 10A, which is on Comfort Plus. This will be my first flight on Comfort Plus, so I don't even have words. This is gonna be an exciting flight. I'm super excited to try out a new class of seating, and overall, it's gonna be a talent show, I could say. While I would like to do first class, for just a regular economy class passenger, it's nice to try out a new class of seating. So once again, I'll be on Comfort Plus for the first time. Something new that I never tried before, because of course, I mainly would fly Comfort, not really Comfort. I would just mainly fly Comfort, not Comfort, what am I saying? I'll just mainly fly economy, there we go. So I'll just a regular economy class passenger. Yeah, and yeah, I just always like flying on the main cabin. So it's kind of like regular for me to like know what a regular economy class seating is like. So I'm just really excited to fly in Comfort Plus and see what this new type of seat class is like. So yeah, I'm just super excited for this flight right here. Once again, Comfort Plus for the first time going to Kansas City. What a talent show that is. Although I would like to try for first class, but this is kind of like a good starter to like get into that first class position. So super excited for this flight right here, and it's gonna be very fun, I'll say. So that's gonna be my flight for June 26th. Now, originally this was actually gonna be a Boeing 757 flight. However, I guess Delta Airlines decides to switch that to a 737-900ER instead. Now, my speculation would that be is, I guess the 739s, like that Kansas City, like ATL to MCI route would just be on the 739 during the summer period, and then probably during the winter season, it's kind of like on the 757. But yeah, these 757s, like this route can be seasonal between a 739 and a 757. So I wish it was on the 757 though. That way it could have been my first Boeing 757 flight. But Hopefully that's in the future, but other than that, I'll just be flying a 739 going to ATL, not ATL, MCI, there we go. So those are my 2 flights going to Kansas City. So now we're gonna move on what my plan is to go to whenever I'm in Kansas City, of course. So what is my plan? So of course, kind of like typical, since I'm exploring a new airport, plane spot at MCI. That's it. Just plane spot at MCI. Connor and JJ already have plans for the spotting meetup, which is actually going to be held on Wednesday. So I'm just super excited for that spotting meetup. That's going to be happening. So yeah, plane spot at MCI and probably plane spot at MCI on the other days. So that's going to be very exciting. Of course, I'll also be visiting the TWA Museum. I'll be talking about the TWA Museum on a future video. So yeah, I'm just super excited to see what the history is of TWA is like. So like learn the history of Trans World Airlines. So TWA for short. So excited for that. And kind of like my third bullet point, I'm not sure if I'm really gonna do this or not, but I could possibly visit downtown for a bit, kind of like see downtown for a bit. Probably that could be held after the convention, so like after Saturday, which of course my flight will be coming back home. Probably like do some exploring MCI for just a little bit before I go home. I'm not sure when I'm gonna do that or if I'm gonna do that, but if it all goes according to plan, then hopefully I can stroll around MCI for a bit. So yeah, that's this page on what my plan is while I'm at Kansas City. But I'm also going to be talking about what my plan is for Airliners International 2024. Kind of like the same thing as like last year. Meet fellow A-Geeks, attend some seminars. That's something new I never added before. So I previously mentioned on a previous Airliners newsletter that I might be attending a couple of seminars, which I'm really excited to see. And of course, like learn about all the other things these people do in these seminars. So really excited for that. Of course, once again, it's kind of like the same thing, going towards budget my money for real this time, because last year I guess I may have like went over my budget last year, so it was kind of like a new experience. But hopefully this year I can understand more on how I can budget my money and overall like save. And the last bullet point, of course, have fun. That's basically it. So yeah, just have fun at Kansas City right there. So yeah, that's kind of like the typical bullet points. Once again, they're similar to last year. And here are all the photos from last year's convention in Dallas. As you can see, this is the Enterprise Ballroom. They basically like put all the entire vendor tables in one ballroom, which I'm really impressed from last year's convention. I'm also going to see some models right there. So here's some Aero Classics models right there. A lot of, what are these? In-flight 200s. Yeah, a lot of in-flight 200 models right there. So that's really impressive to see that many in-flight 200s. And they might also, not sure what Chris Limmer has in mind in order to surprise us the Wednesday night before the convention, but we'll just have to see. But he did like show me this 1:50 scale, or like, yeah, is it 1:50? Oh yeah, it was a 1:50 1959 build Douglas DC-8 cutaway model. That's a very cool model right there. So here's a picture of that. That's kind of like the star of this ballroom. That's like the main attraction to that ballroom from last year. So that's really cool that Chris Limmer brought that in from last year's convention. And yeah, just excited to see what this has to offer, what this year has to offer. They're going to be separated into 2 different ballrooms. So yeah, unlike last year's where it's just like one ballroom, they're just going to separate it to 2 ballrooms. So should expect that for this year's convention. Alright, so after all the collectible shows and after day 3 and after Airlines International is finished, I'm going to be heading back to Sacramento for the flight back home. So we're going to get started with our first flight right here. Well, not really first flight. Well, the first flight going back to Sacramento, but third flight in general. So third flight, so we're going to get started with my third flight. And that's going to be on June 30th. I'll be flying with Delta Airlines once again. And that'll be on an Airbus A320. The flight route will be from Kansas City, MCI, to Salt Lake City International Airport, SLC. The flight number for that flight is Delta 2903. The flight time is 2 hours and 39 minutes long, excuse me. The time of departure is 6:25 p.m. Central Time, and the time of arrival is 8:04 p.m. Mountain Time. So, really excited for this. It'll be my first time flying on a Delta A320 since 2015. The last flight I ever flown on for that flight on this A320 was from Salt Lake City to Detroit's DTW Airport. I can't believe I still remember that flight, but yeah, I don't really have that much information about that flight. I just like flown on this aircraft and that's it. Didn't like go to all the other stuff because I think I was like maybe like I guess like 13 something years old back then, so I didn't really know much back then. So probably 12 years old, kind of like around that 12-year-old mark. So yeah, once again, I don't really know that much on what's going on within the aviation industry. I just fly on a Delta A320 and that's it. And yeah, and this will be also my first time in Salt Lake City since 2015. Now I did had a layover there last year as well, so yeah, that was my last time I went to SLC, and it was in the old terminal. So I'm just super excited to see this new terminal, and yeah, just super excited to go back to Salt Lake City. Well, technically Salt Lake City International, that was back in 2015. And yeah, so yeah, just once again, just super excited to go back to SLC and kind of do some exploring at this airport. So just super excited for that flight right there. Alright, and now we're going to be moving on to my second layover. So here's my second layover, which of course is going to be held in Salt Lake City International Airport. And this layover is much longer compared to the previous one from Atlanta. I'll be there in Salt Lake City for 3 hours and 1 minute. 3 hours and 1 minute. So that's how long the duration is. Now, of course, kind of like the same thing as per usual, just do some plane spotting and all that terminal spotting and kind of like assessing the airports. But I'm not sure how this is going to work. Possibly do a night spotting at one point at the location at this airport. Now, because of how long the duration is, I'm planning on doing some kind of form of plane spotting, like terminal night spotting, if ever that goes according to plan. But yet again, I'm not sure how that's gonna really play out, since like I'll be arriving at Salt Lake City at the night. So hopefully I can at least do something to like do some night spotting. I'm not sure if that's actually gonna be confirmed or not, or if I'm actually gonna do that, but who knows. But other than that, it should be very interesting to do some night spotting at SLC. They have some good locations on where I can like do some plane spotting at, but other than that, it's nighttime. That's kind of like the main problem at this, It's nighttime, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna fidget with the camera settings if that were the case. Probably if I were to do some night spotting, then yes, I will have to have a tripod with me because I'm gonna have to like shoot this at very low lighting levels. So that's a challenging thing to have to say. So hopefully that goes according to plan though, but other than that, everything's just the same. And now we get into my fourth and final flight for this trip. And of course, it'll be on Delta Airlines again. Yeah, kind of like explanatory. It'll be on another 737-900ER. It'll be from Salt Lake City International Airport to Sacramento International Airport. The flight number for that flight is 1441. The flight time will be 1 hour and 43 minutes. The time of departure is 11:05 p.m. Mountain Time, and the time of arrival is 11:48 p.m. Pacific Time. And of course, I'll be seated on 618A in the main cabin. So nothing really to go over for this flight. It's kind of like the same thing. Nothing really too special. I've been on the 739 before, so should expect the same thing for this final flight right here. So yeah, that's it for this whole trip right here. So I'm just super excited to go over this flight reports. I'll do the flight reports after this trip, but we're gonna look at the expectations during this trip. So what are my expectations? Pretty much the same thing at this point. Well, not really. One bullet point I'll say is hopefully I can have some clear and warm weather at Kansas City, because Dallas last year, it was like the humidity level there was so hot. It almost felt like, man, like the humidity was really close to the humidity in Sacramento. I think Connor did mention that at one point, but other than that, it is what it is. But hopefully for some warm and clear weather, and hopefully the humidity level there isn't too hot. And yeah, and the second bullet point, a lot of attendees for Airliners International. As previously mentioned, I should expect a lot more attendees compared to the attendees in Dallas Fort Worth last year. So yeah, because like we've been promoting this convention to many other people on social media, I should expect like a lot of people to attend this convention. And of course, my third bullet point is to have fun, which that's what I do during Airliners. Have fun, get to talk with geeks, and just enjoy the time being an MCI. So yeah, that's basically it. So that's it. See you at MCI. So I'm just super excited for this trip announcement. Well, super excited for this trip in general. This Airliners International 2024 trip is going to be super exciting, just like last year's. And yeah, we might have some new things that are going to be happening this year, unlike last year. Hopefully some more references. And yeah, I'm just beyond excited, like just beyond excited to go to this trip for you guys. So yeah, and yeah, I'm just really super excited. Can't wait to meet some returning faces and probably some new faces as well. So yeah, that's just like from all the trips and the layovers, it's just gonna be an awesome trip, I'll say. Kind of like more awesome compared to like Dallas, or might be falling within the same excitement level, but other than that, I'm just super excited for this convention and I can't wait to see you guys there. So I'm beyond excited for Airliners International 2024, and I hope you guys are as well if ever you're going to be attending. So that is it for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and turn on that post notification bell so you won't miss a video like this anytime soon. And if you want to see more of my Airliners International 2024 content, then you can click on that playlist, and you can check out all my playlists from Airliners International 2024. Mainly just newsletters, but we're going to be having some more conventions, well, more videos from this convention once the convention kicks in, and possibly after the convention in general. So I'm just super excited to do those videos for you guys. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Anyways, good night.